to the affair. Oh, when Brian's doing stuff in New York, drop it like it's hot, drop it like it's hot.
Absolutely. Had a great weekend with Ed and Bobby and the BFS crew at the BFS teams event. A fantastic 8-man teams event. If you get the chance to play in it, I 100% recommend it.
That was a good
They had
tournament.
160. They had 160 players. It was a murderer's row of competition there. Team Stat Check took it down with a very international crew.
Very international. Come on.
Very inter-
I was gonna say
I,
they
you had
brought what five countries or four countries?
I think it was 5 because you had someone there from England. You had the Oliver, the captain of Team France, and as the captain of Team Scotland. Jeremy, former member of WTC Canada, and the Americans and Anthony Vanilla, and oh my God, there was so many people on that team. It was frightening.
Yeah, I mean they're bringing the superstars again today. What are your thoughts on that? By the way, a lot of people have really conflicting views how they feel about all-star type teams as opposed to your gaming group type teams.
So all those guys from the Stat Check team sit around and talk 40K online. I had a privilege at one point in time to be in their Discord at one point before I kind of left Discord for a long time, and they're friends, they're buddies, they TTS together, they hang out together, they chat together, they're online together many days a week. Just because they're not buddies hanging out at the same game store, it's a different type of friendship. I don't have a problem with it. I think it's fine. It's part of everything going on with 40K, where 40K is very much a mixed international team. You can play it online. You can do all kinds of things. So I don't have a problem with it. It's rough to compete against when they are that skilled and that talented.
Oh, 100%. It's just there's a lot of people that really get a thing of because it for forever, if you're playing 5-mans, whatever, besides international events, it was your gaming group, that small group of friends coming over.
Yeah.
And it's really morphed over time, maybe evolved.
Well, it's like Brad got it. If you and I got on a team, right? We're on this cast every week together. We chat all the time. You're in Toledo, Ohio. I'm in Syracuse, New York.
Yeah. I have no issue with it. Just you have to redo your game. Yeah. It's just a lot of people have approached me with I don't like this. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
it is what it is. And I understand it though, because if you bring, your good players and some random guys that you hang out with, you're not going to have much of a chance versus, a coordinated all-star team. You feel like, when did we send guys to the Olympics? Was that 92? The dream team?
Yeah. I mean, look, the dream team is, you look at Stat Check, right? But then you've got Art of War. Art of War is a dream team, right? Right? They're a team. A couple of them live together, but they're also a dream team.
Yeah, and then I mean, it has been. It was there when I was there. We we put all the people there. I'll go to Meadow real quick. From mostly outsider, don't most team events outside of WC really have 1 and 2 heavy favorites? Yes, like really, really heavy.
I agree with that. I think the teams event being, I don't want to say it's new to the US because we've had ATC for a while, but being
it's new focus though. We've got so many more team events now than we've ever had.
Yep. And the big thing with that, and the big thing that I like about teams events is you can approach it 2 different ways. I want to worry about pairings and getting the best lists and trying to win and be super competitive and aggressive, or you can go, hey, I got 8 buddies. We're going to go play some 40K and have some fun. Well, and maybe we'll get some good matchups. Maybe we'll get some bad, but we're going to have a good time.
It's so funny because you also get the growing pains on that. Because I see a lot of teams put together good people, but they don't have a team concept or a team like what what they're doing. Because a lot of teams I saw
Yeah.
brought one-offs and stuff like that. Um, so
Yeah.
they did new pairings as well.
It's tough to get 8 guys together, consistently practice against the top meta armies to be prepared to go into a teams event thinking you're going to win. It requires a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of research, a lot of pairings, a lot of starting games and re-racking. And look, we're all human. We all have lives outside of 40K with a few exceptions. And it is what it is. I think everyone goes into it hoping to win. I just think that some people are going with the hope of, hey, I'd be super happy if my team went 500. And I think that's how you got to look at it sometimes.
One of the things about it is I think that teams makes you play. I just did a video of Alan Pajama Pants about this. I really think that teams makes you a better player though, because it teaches you how to play for 5 turns. It teaches you to continue to play even after you've
Mm-hmm.
lost because you're playing for points. And I like that quite a bit because
Yeah.
I hate the fact that like once you get to a point and get in a game where you can't win anymore, everybody just kind of mails it in and just kind of whatever. In a team game, you're playing for every point. And I like that quite a bit. I think it does make you quite a bit better. Corey. Yeah,
So,
exactly. I agree 100%. But the one of the biggest things is, and I think that some of the teams that are playing, when you're looking at a stat checker in Art of War or whatever, also Valkyrie Boys showed up, did really well. Um, I think that it's a big deal to make sure that you have a team concept or you have a plan. Like, do you have multiple
mm-hmm.
horde armies to take advantage of people's defenders? Do you have, if people have those, what are your, what are you countering
Yeah.
with? And I think that you can make a nice team concept of, that are kind of looking at the meta itself and what are we pairing into those type of things. And you can make more pure list is what I like too, because you can have lists that are just, hey, I kill guys. Don't put me into all vehicle armies. Cool.
Yep.
So we can do a lot of that.
I
So
mean,
go ahead.
and I firmly believe that teams make you a more balanced player because I agree with you. Playing out 5 turns, scraping for every point, and doing all of that. I also think that in some ways, teams, because of that, is makes you really conscious of this is an inconsequential thing to a game when I'm going to already lose by 50 and I'm going to give a 20-0. But I want to fight for that 2 points anyways.
100%.
Um,
They give you that 18 to
and
2, may win that 2 points may win the game for you. I've had that story forever.
oh yeah, but it's one of those things of I like that you can scratch and claw in teams. Like, hey, look, Matrix says you were you unfortunately are taking one for the team, right? You're the infantry list, the 4 infantry lists. They brought one army that was all blast weapons,
all the
all
volume,
out of
all the
line of sight,
time.
shooting all the time. And hey, guess what? Are you willing to take this one for the team? Absolutely, I'll take one for the team. And then that guy claws out an 18-2 when your Matrix had it as a 20-0. That guy's a hero.
Yep. 2 points is 2 points.
It's
baby.
a good thing.
And I've been thinking that quite
and I
a
mean,
bit. Just, I like teams 40K much more than I like playing. I've been playing very few singles events as of late, just because I like 40K as a team event a lot more. I just like going with everyone too and hanging out. So yeah, all the Blade Launcher
and
Bloodtrones, yeah, we'll see a bunch of that still.
I mean, I like teams. Teams will continually become one of the growing favorites of mine. I also really enjoy judging teams from a judge standpoint of when you have a coach there, there's a quick question of, hey, judge, there's a judge in a room of 100 people or 50 people, can't hear you. Coach runs over and goes, hey, when you're done with that, can you come over to my table? It's number 5, the layout 2 table. Absolutely, I'll be right there. Have them pause their clock so I don't slow their game down. And you head over, and by the time you get there, sometimes it's like, oh no, we found the rule where we were just being idiots, and it's great. So
I do like that. I think that that's one thing if you're getting a team together, especially if you have the odd man out, Having a coach is bananas important. Somebody has to be able to basically go between the tables. It's very helpful too because you can tell the person
Yep.
to play harder, play for a draw, play for, whatever. You can basically tell them to
Yep.
push or not to push. But also, you're in charge of, you know, sitting at the table while the person goes to the restroom. You're also in charge of getting the judge. You're in charge of getting the scores in, who's at what table, making sure
Yep.
everything's done. It's a lot of stuff and it helps quite a bit.
I will say that one of the coaches for one of the teams had, and I'm not exaggerating this at all, he brought in like one of the sports carry water bottle things, like full of water for all the guys, so they never had to like run from the table to get
Oh,
a drink else.
dude,
That was
Pedro
super clutch.
Pedro was our coach last year, and he was just got he literally got all the lunch orders ready. He had drinks for everybody. He had all the stuff. He was MVP. So the if you wanted the French team for the food, those are rookie numbers. Eric, I'll put it in Discord and a bunch of others. There's so many people that are looking to play on teams. I've talked to so many people that are looking for that. Uh, don't be afraid to just start
And
off too. It's
I,
very big on that.
yeah, I mean, like one of the things, like the Syracuse group, we haven't had a from the art store, we haven't had a team go yet to an event, right? Next year will be the first year that I kind of push and get everybody and get a team together. And I would assume that Zuber is going to captain it. I'm going to coach it. And we're going to put a team together and we're going to go to a couple events. I'm
Nice.
not going to say, commit to a bunch, but we're going to try and, make a couple because it's going to be super. Will that team be the killer bastion? No, it's going to be a new team full of a lot of new players. We're going to go, we're going to have some fun, we're going to have some beverages, go out to eat, have a good time, meet a bunch of people. It'll be a great event.
Several of the beverages.
And
Hold
we'll
on.
be it's later where we're good.
Switch.
Yeah. I really like very well. So I was very happy.
Man, I forgot I had that transition on that. Whoops a daisy. Yikes.
That was fun.
So
I
here's
was
a
like,
different
oh no, did we
screen.
lose internet and restart?
My bad, everyone. Also, I know that's super loud on the transition. Whoopsie. Just seeing if everybody was paying attention. Time for that sick transition. You know it, baby. Oh,
So KR, glad you saw me on Joe's stream. If you guys, and I'm gonna stop for just a second and goes, if you guys didn't watch the charity stream that they did after round 2, where John Lennon played Innes from Scotland, they raised over $3,000 for charity.
well done.
We got to do Innes to do 2 shoeies. It was a riot, and Zuber and I, you can probably hear in the background somewhere, egging the entire thing on the entire time. It was fantastic.
I love that he did 2 shoeies and he's from Scotland. You're like, that's not the right thing, dude. I just did have my favorite when we were sitting at Cali Cup. And he's like, I was saying, like, man, no one really is hanging with me. No one wants to drink the way we drink. And he goes, if anybody drank the way you boys drink, they would die. That's why no one hangs out with doing that. Dude. Let's talk about the meta. So first off, Emperor's Children had a really good opening week. They had 3 event wins, 7 X&O, X&O and X&1s. They had 19 players with 62 games played. Joe had talked about the fact that somebody was playing their rules wrong, or people weren't understanding the army rule. I don't know how you'd mess that up. It's fairly simple.
When things are new, mistakes get made. Most of the time, they're unintentional, like the vast majority. So give people a little leeway on that.
Yeah,
things happen.
I feel you on that. Here's the question that was asked. I saw a lot of this in Reddit. Obviously I'm going to lean towards let it be played. Is Emperor's Children going to be an issue? Are the new Chaos armies too strong, or is it just something that just came out? And I'll give you my thought real quick, and I'll buzz it over, because I just feel that it's just new. You know what I mean? Everyone always has like a good opening week most of the time. What are your thoughts on it?
People don't know how to play against the army yet, and they you do your best to explain all your potential gotchas, anything you can do. But like most people, we half pay attention to the to all that stuff, and then when it happens, we go, "Oh shit, did you tell me that?" And the person will probably go, "Yep, I did." And then you're like, "Yeah, I forgot, I screwed up." So you miscalculate something you're doing, misjudge what they can do. It's it's gonna happen. I think most armies start a little stronger out of the gate and then fall back down to earth. Do I think Emperor's Children's going to be a really rough out? Yep. They're going to be tough for a little bit until you figure out how to play them. They're a good army. I don't know if they're a 60+% win rate army all the time, but they're going to be good. And I have a feeling that until people understand how to play against new Death Guard, new World Eaters, it's going to be the same thing. There's a learning curve on both sides of the thing,
Yeah, well,
and you just have to figure it out.
it's one of the things we'll talk about a little bit more, is what KR said. DG scares me 100%. I think Death Guards, from what we've seen so far, is wildly the scariest. Emperor's Children's really fast. Now, one of the biggest things about any army is it's super fast and it has new mechanics. Here, I'm going to go to the Brad Chester coaching corner for just a second here. We're getting a ton of new books. We're getting 4 Chaos books. We're getting Space Wolves. We're getting 2 Night books, all in a back to back to back to back. You got to get used to going to the table and asking your set standard questions. Do you have ways to move outside of the movement phase? Do you have fight first? Do you have redeploy? Can just rattle that down and just make it part of your greeting. Hey, what's going on? Ask him about any oddball strats. Can you move faster than your data sheets say? Most of the shenanigans that you'll get in are game mechanics that are outside of normal game mechanics. Just ask your opponent, do you have scouts? Can you move faster than it says you're going to move? Do you have fights first? Do you have, can you consolidate more than 3? All of a sudden they're fighting things that you didn't want them to fight. They're getting into stuff. And I think that's one of the biggest things with Emperor's Children is they have fights first. They have consolidate 6, depending obviously who you're playing, because a lot of people were playing coterie. But like you have a lot of different strats that are just new. Take a second and ask them, because don't take a game, and this isn't just from a win-loss perspective, but it's a very big deal to make sure that you don't feel like you got gotcha'd because you didn't know how
Mm-hmm.
a rule works. Take the time before the game starts to have that conversation about what that army does. You'll have a much better, more fun game if you're not constantly thinking that somebody's doing some nonsense to you, and you can plan for it.
Brad, you have if I remember correctly from your coaching days, you have a printout sheet of the questions to ask before the game, right?
Yep. I have a printout of that, and I also make individual ones, not just to promote my coaching. But I think that it's important that you have that. That's why I'm a big fan of paper score sheets with that, because you can put your own notes on them all the time. The app's fantastic, and a lot of people love the app. But like, I like to have something to remind you of things that you're supposed to do, things that you're supposed to ask. I think it helps like a ton, especially if you're a person that likes to play like different armies. You got to have those your own things, but also you have to ask those questions for your opponent. I mean, mark it down. I have multiple tokens and stuff like that that I take for my opponent's army. So if I want to know who's got what, just write it down. I mean, hell, I used to write everything. I used to be the worst on that. I just ripped up pieces of paper and put like drugs or whatever, and whatever my opponent has, mark their transports. Just make it easy for yourself.
Yep.
It's it's important just to not
I
have
will say
nonsense.
one of the nicest things I've seen at tournaments, besides someone that keeps a paper score, because I'm a huge fan as well, the checklist of things, and then on top of that, the guy had like the amazing tokens to tell him all of his. He was a guard player. He had dice for all his orders. He had tokens for his strats, so he could mark and move everything, so he just didn't lose focus on what had what. And on like a little adapter behind his did you use your command, said command ability, did you use yes no, that he would click over go, oh, I use my command ability on turn 1, turn 2, turn 3. It was kind of neat. It was one of the things I've seen.
I do a lot of I
It
have a
was it
lot of
was the ability to give yourself a lot of reminders.
oh God. What do you like to do in your free time? What do you think your biggest strength is? It's an interview. Exactly. The I do it a lot with I have like tokens for almost everything. I use like the same random beads, gem, whatever you want to call them, that I've used for a long time for different things. Your battle focus. I like to mark things, you know. It's just anything that can help you. But like, man, those questions help a lot. I'm just telling you, we're getting so many books that are coming out, and they have a lot of different rules, especially when you're used to playing the old version of it. You know what I mean? The new book for World Eaters, the new book for Death Guard, the new book for Emperor's Children. All of those have a lot of the old rules and a lot more, obviously, because they're, you know, they now have a full codex.
I spent quite a bit of time talking to players that I knew were like faction specialists. Like I was talking to Anthony Vanilla about World Eater. Like, what do you like? And he gave me like a 10-minute rundown of everything he was thinking of doing, what detachment he was thinking of running, how he was thinking of doing it, his strategy in like 5 minutes. And I was like, that's awesome. I'm going to forget half of this, but it was very cool to get. And I got to watch, thankfully, there were amazing people at the event. And I got to watch some really intense, interesting games, like watching Innis pilot GSC. That was a master class in watching an army move and how to use it. Watching Nassim play guard was very interesting. Watching John play that Stormlance list that is
Tell me about that,
one
man.
of the
I
most
was I forgot I didn't watch any
I've
games
ever
because
watched.
of my status over the weekend, but like, what?
Yeah.
How did that play? Because that list was so odd with the two speeders, the one
So
flyer.
it was all about speed. In all honesty, it was a lot about speed, a lot about building your CP for your go turn because you get the extra with Calgar, and using Gilliman correctly, using free strats at the right time, and making that Stormraven do things with Oath, where you were getting the those Stormbolters
Oh, he's got
or
a
the
mountain of shots. That thing's got all of the
the
guns.
mountain of shots off that thing with all the plasma cannons and uh, the missiles and everything else. It was just it. I watched him delete a guard tank with it and delete an infantry squad, a unit of Karsakin, because it was like, and here's bang bang. Here's the I get +1 AP. You know, I use the speeder to make it ignore cover. So therefore, I am just picking up guys.
Yeah.
And movement wise, it had the ability to hide. Watching him in many ways, master class with the Brutalis Dreadnoughts of keeping one kind of within 8 inches of the Stormraven. So he could disembark one, draw, and then embark the other one in to move to get better line with it was super impressive and a great piece of tech. To make those Blizzard dreadnoughts, even more efficient than what they currently are. It was really good, and of course, Gilliman is still Gilliman. That double oath is just
I mean,
gross.
it's just a thing, man.
It is a thing, and it is brutal. And
I,
uh,
I do love Double Oath from the
watching the
fact
company heroes,
Double Oath cracks me up because almost always the first oath is someone that's just going to get raffle stomped into another dimension. It's like, all right, first oath is on those 5 scouts, and then the second oath is, you know, what I mean, like somebody always gets just monkey smashed, and then the actual
I
unit
mean,
that you're shooting.
I watched him like the thing that I found. What I was watching him play a game, and he oathed a guard, a 10-man unit of guard, and then he went, "Yeah, my outriders over there who are way out of any buffs or anything probably need the help of. I'm going to oath that unit they're going after." And then he butchered that one unit of guard that was clearly going to get shot by a storm raven, and there was that could shoot at it if need be. And then those outriders just went up and go, "All right, I shoot the squad of guard. I then, assault the squad of guard," and I'm like,
Yeah,
had 3 Outriders pick up something fairly easily. It was quite impressive.
yeah. I mean, full rerolls to hit and wounding
And
on
again,
twos.
yeah,
Also,
the wounding on twos was just
yeah, it's huge.
so brutal.
The I do like watching Nas play guard because he's so bananas aggressive, even when they're guards. You know,
Yep,
all of the guns go, 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 go.
yep. And I will say it was nice judging some of the better players to see them ask questions and go, Judge, okay, can I do this? And you're like, no, you can't. Here it is in this, and here it is in that. Then they're like, yeah, I just wasn't sure. And it wasn't that like one of them came up to me afterwards, and I'm not going to say who the player was. And he was like, dude, he goes, I just couldn't remember the rule. I couldn't find it. And I was like, it was easier to call you. And I'm like, it's okay. That's what we're here for. You know,
Also,
and,
like and subscribe.
like in all events, everyone's, yeah, absolutely. Like and subscribe to the channel. I didn't get to watch the Nogs and Siegs game. I was kind of watching a few other tables at that point, but it looked like it was. I can tell you that what was the other game that I got watching Jeremy Atkinson play Nick Nadavati with Yanari versus Votan. Also very interesting. Nice way to watch a Falcon get used as a troop protector
Yeah.
to avoid things, it was pretty fun. It was like, oh, yep, he killed 2 of my fire dragons, got everything down in the, Seer Conclave or the Seer Storm Guardian thing to where there's just one random character kicking around. Hey, go hop in the way, die.
You're like, run away,
Or
run
go hop in
away.
the Falcon and don't die. Yep.
That is a weird mechanic, by the way,
And
just to throw that out there for everyone.
yeah,
So, Storm Guardians, the character joins Storm Guardians, and then 4 warlocks join the Storm Guardian, and well, it's actually Yvrain. Sorry, Yvrain and the Vizark join the Storm Guardians, and then
yep.
The 4 warlocks also join, and the 4 warlocks, because they're not characters, are just part of the unit. And Yvrain brings back D3 models. So she can just bring back warlocks, even if all 4 of them get killed, and they just have 4 up invulns. So you can just irritate your opponent when you're shooting that trash squad, and they're, Jedi Knighting las cannons, picking them away. So it is pretty funny on
Well,
that.
the thing that I liked, the watching that unit in particular and learning something about that unit was watching him go, all right, I'm gonna keep, kill all these bodyguard, keep 1 storm guardian so I can keep the platform and start taking wounds on the warlocks.
Yeah, I love
And
everything about
then
that.
and watching it re-res and everything else, it was very interesting. That unit is very intriguing because when you can string out the, what is it, 15 or 16 man unit and sticky to objectives,
Oh, it's crazy. You stick to the objectives. Also, you got
it's pretty good.
46
Yeah.
rank 7 flamers. They're legit. Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
they've got a lot of shenanigans on that. I mean, I'm obviously biased because I love me some Eldar, but just on that. Let's go back to factions a little bit here. Talking about what happened over the weekend and what can happen.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
saw Emperor's Children have a big weekend, opening weekend, but they usually do. I think that's one of the armies that is going to give people problems until they start playing against it because of its speed. I'm going to give us that chaos thing, then I'm going to go back to it again on the factions again for the weekend. What are your thoughts on your predictions for World Eaters and Death Guard coming up from everything that we've seen on, from be it GW site to everything else? We've seen a lot of what they can do. Who do you think is going to be?
Seeing they've put the full codex out there with
Yep.
previews and everything else, I think Death will probably lead the charge out the gate with World Leaders and Emperor's Children not being too far behind them in win rate for a little bit off the get go. I think Death Guard will be an interesting build because you don't know what one of the 3 Death Guard army lists you're going to face.
Yeah,
If
that's
you
nasty too.
just look at a Death Guard play and you walk up to the table, it could be like, oh, 800 Poxwalkers. Oh, that's, bunch of big boys
Yeah.
and some
All
vehicles,
tanks or
or
a ton of plague marines.
wow, that's a ton of plague marines, and
That's another one where you have
people are
to.
gonna underestimate what those bloat drones do until they see the with the bright launchers. I think you're gonna see a defiler in that list as well,
Plague
because it
marines.
just has some great abilities. It's gonna be interesting. I think you're gonna see some very well-rounded lists, but you're also gonna see some skew Death Guard lists.
100%. And I
World
think,
leaders, I have a feeling you're gonna there's two things you're gonna see, and they're both gonna be super.
I mean, if my back didn't die, I would run 2 princes and maximum jackals and goremongers. Horde with a 4-up invuln. All right, seems legit.
I mean,
But
you also have to keep the big thing alive, which is not the easiest thing to do.
yes, it's way. I was saying you kind of have to run a backfield prince and a go get 'em prince. So that you disgust me,
Yeah.
Brian. But there's, I could not run that. I'll just die. But the I don't know. Death Guard looks very very strong. So World Leaders I just like because you can bring different World Leader builds as opposed to this is the World Leader build go, you know. So I like that quite a
Yeah.
bit. The other folk who look like space
And
clown
I
speeches,
think
that'd
we'll
be
see
Harlequins.
I think we're going to see a lot. I mean, a lot of corn berserkers on the board shortly.
They're legit, man.
I
And the
think that's the
Berserk.
big takeaway is it's no longer Codex Exalted. It's now Codex,
I mean, if
or
you're
no
bringing
longer Codex
that
8 bound.
yeah,
It's
if you're bringing that detachment, dude,
berserkers.
it's just like Liberator and Blood Angels. You know, you can make your regular guys hit so much harder. +2 strength, +1 attack. You can actually hit things that you have no business hitting
Yep.
because of that. So it's just a big deal
And
on that. The
yeah,
I don't know. As far as your basic troops, though, man, it's hard for me not to love Plague Marines now with everything they've showed us from the book. So
oh yeah, absolutely. And Plague Burst crawlers with that relic, shooting indirect with more fun is going to be a good time.
I mean, they have the most probably well-rounded army because Emperor's Children lost like quite a bit of
Yeah.
stuff and then got some new stuff, but their army is just based on, you know, go fast juice, you know, all of the get in there and do stuff. Noise Brain's obviously in everyone's list on that because they're still smashed, but that army wants to be all up on you, and I like their playstyle quite a bit. World Eater's got a decent amount. I like the shenanigans. Pajamas and I were talking about that because he's talking about taking that to our tournament on June 6th, 7th, and 8th. Please come sign up. Come on, have a great time in Southfield, Michigan, which is basically Detroit, right away from the airport. We're going to have a great time on it. But he's talking about bringing the either the Berserker detachment or the Rhino detachment. Both have a significant amount of
Mhm.
play. And I really like that fact that there isn't that auto, this is the thing to take. You know, when you're looking between them and you think multiple things are
Agreed.
really strong. I think that they've done, I'm very happy with the Chaos books. And I know that Peaches is looking for this, and Hunter's looking for this. I really want the Space Wolves book to have the same flavor that they're giving the Chaos books. These feel like World Eaters, like
I,
Emperor's Children, you know?
yep. And I think if they continue the trend, when we get the Space Wolf book, I have a feeling there's going to be stuff like a Ragnar feeling detachment that would run the army like Ragnar. There's going to be one
Please.
that runs it like you would run it with Logan. I think it's something we're going to see. It just seems like they've been headed in that direction.
That's a thing for Brian on
Cavalry are
that. Do we
sticking
know if
around.
they're what? Are they
Thunderwolf Cavalry is sticking around.
kicking around still? I was about to say you got that from what you ordered. So
So, um, the way you can tell, and this sticks to Wolfen, and they have been reboxing everything and putting the faction logo on the end of the boxes. When the stuff was going to Legends, I shouldn't say Legends, getting discontinued from the lines from being, made, they update the boxes. And I noticed that with Death Guard, with World Eaters, when I ordered new combat patrols for them and I was getting new boxes on everything else World Eaters and Death Guard, I wasn't getting new boxes on the combat patrol. It's been that way on the Space Wolves. I would assume the Venerable Dreadnoughts are going away. The just the regular Venerable Dreadnought for them is going away because I haven't seen that on a new box yet. Now, could they have had a million of them kicking around? It's distinctly possible, but I would assume that's my feeling, and it wouldn't surprise me if Fenrisian Wolves were also gone in Cyber Wolves.
Oh, I bet, but you think maybe because of the fact that the Logan model, I'd like to see the regular wolves come back and be attachments. You used to be able to just add wolves to any of your characters, which I used to think was super cool. Because a lot of the characters in lore just have
I
their
think they're. I
pack that
think.
comes with them.
Well, I think if you look at Logan as they've got him modeled, or not, yeah, Logan as they've got him modeled, he has his wolves on his base. I assume if there's someone who is known for having a wolf with them, that they will be adorned with it on their model.
Yeah, there's multiple
And just
people.
like I told people last week that they were going to change some of the Imperial Knight kits around, they announced today that they're doing that. Just an FYI.
Optional fen reasons. Yeah, it's true. Lone wolves did have optional fen reasons. I just want to have more. I want to have more, just more stuff. To be honest with you. So,
Yeah.
oh, what did I just do? Did I just jack this up? Oh no! Hold
No, you
on.
got it good.
There we go. Now, like you can
So where
change
was I?
everything
There
now.
you go.
Hey, you, Meta Monday with the fully lookable, customizable view on the on the stuff.
And that's
So,
why Meta Monday is fantastic, constantly evolving and upgrading things.
so I like this though. I do want to look at games played because Marines always have the most games played, but I was surprised that we had as many games played with Custodes and Eldari, and then we're still having a ton of games played. IG's out there, huge up, but Tyranids are way up there too. We've seen a
So
lot of games played here.
I was so one of my most disappointing parts of my weekend was when Sam Pope showed up and he was playing World Eaters
I
instead of
know. What the
Tyranids.
hell, Sam?
And so I was like, me, I up to anybody and ask him questions. And I was like, Sam, why not Tyranids? He goes, they're the most fair and balanced army there is. And I was like, okay. He was like, completely fair. Every is fair. No matter what detachment you take, it's fair. Their rules are fair. He goes, they're a great army. He goes, they're just a fair army. And sometimes in teams, you need stuff that's a little skewed. And you can't
Unfair.
go skewed and be fair and be unfair with Tyranids. And I'm like, nope, that's understandable. I get it. I like it. I appreciate the honesty. And they're a fair army. They're a good army, but they're fair.
I'll give you that.
As you can see by their win rate, they're still good.
I mean, they're
They're
legit
just,
on that. They also
just
had
fair.
they had a huge amount of X and ones. You know what I mean? X and O, X and ones,
Yeah.
and they had another event win. I think that Tyranids were undervalued for a long time. They're a solid army that just lets you play the game. I love them in teams because they can blunt very, very well. Just like take points away from people. So I think that's
In an 8-man teams, they have a potential to be another skew list for you.
oh, they can either skew this for you or they can just go, hey, I brought, triple X-Skin, double Tyrannofex, and 80 Gaunts with the Turbogon, and you play Invasion Fleet and start giving people a 5-up Final Pain and just go, meh, I can score points no matter what you are. And that's one of those things where you, again, playing teams, you don't have to win every game. If you take away the army that's supposed to get a 20-0 and you give them a 15, a 12, or whatever, you know what I mean? And you could rock up, if you could score tens all weekend, shit, that'd be amazing. And you possibly can, you know? The other thing I was going to talk about.
Yeah. Again, Nids are super fun, super fantastic, absolutely enjoyable. I think they're in the same ballpark as a lot of other armies where they're fair, they're balanced, and they're fun.
Let's talk about the fact that Knights had another huge weekend, another event win, 10 X and O, X and ones, and they still have a shit ton of games played, man. You had 32 players, you know what I mean, on that. And you got the codex coming out soon. So the rank can score no matter
Yep.
what. That is true. I do play whatever.
I think people undervalue how good in Imperial Knights and Arminger is because they're just solid, and damage 3 is a hell of a drug.
That's the biggest thing I think, that so many people were playing barely any Helverins and stuff, and now you see armies with like 5 and 6
Yeah.
of them. Those guys are terrifying, especially you see the combo, the solo immolator that comes out, strips cover, Helverin shoot at you, they pop the +1 AP, and all of a sudden you're just taking invulns or die saves. You know, that army can
Yep.
put some serious damage on you. It's also skewed. I mean, everything on the board, you got T10 or T12 on pretty much everything on the board. It's
And
big
they
on
move
that.
fast. And they're
Custodes,
OC8.
yep. Custode's still seeing a huge amount of play and still winning in a good clip. They had an 11 X&O X1s, but they were the second most played army in the over the weekend. That army, as long as you have, wardens are delightful. Lions is just such a good detachment. I think that's just doing super well. But
And Terry, I am so glad you're bringing your Custodes. Assault City, August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. C.com. Check it out. 3 days, very much like our sister event in Michigan. It's going to be a fantastically good time.
loving life, living large. So the good old days of Space Wolves, epic sagas. Sit down. I'm like Bjorn, but they haven't stuffed me in a dreadnought yet. So I'm waiting for it.
We're getting close.
Yeah. I mean,
We're getting close.
after the weekend, I was like, instead of driving far, I think I'll just die. But
Yeah.
IG, tell me what you think about IG. They have fourth most games played. They have a ton of games played every weekend. Win rate's been way down, but like especially in teams, we're getting basically that cookie cutter list. We talked about it a little bit last week. We get that combined arms force that's been doing well. I think it's in singles they're fine, but man, I think in teams where that IG army shines.
I agree. I think in teams, IG does have a tendency to shine. I think there's definitely a singles list that's gonna be coming up after talking with. And again, I admittedly had the luxury this weekend of being around a lot of world class players and talking lists and list ideas and listening to someone talk about, well, I think 30 Rough Riders in a list adorns and the other stuff because of the speed and ability it gives you, and to force people to make bad choices and draw angles with things. And I was like, oh. And then just hearing all the tale of how to and what to, it was very interesting. I think there's a list there. I think it's going to be found as time progresses.
I think that a lot on that. I'm going to go back to win percentage again. Beep-beak-a-deek-deek. At least I'm going to try to. There we go. So, AdMech. AdMech won decent amount over the weekend. Let go. There we go. Let go. This is one where we basically have been talking about off and on because we never know what we're getting AdMech wise. Because they've won at 40%, they've won at 50 some percent. They had another good week this weekend where they did really well. Where do you think AdMech is in the meta right now?
I think they're a fair army. I think they can win. I think in the right pilot's hands, they can be very decent. I just think they don't have that allow you to manipulate the current mission deck points on secondaries.
Yeah,
They just don't have the uppy downy, the quick speeds. It's one of those things of you either have to push the board and control with Horde, or like you can infiltrate in Vanguard and do all that, or it's you're playing. I'm going to score my primary, and I'm hoping to score all the secondary stuff.
I
But
mean,
it's
Vanguard's just gross with that. Also, -1 to hit and having a random invul is annoying. Also,
yeah
3-inch. Hey, you don't have any OC here? Cool. Pound sand.
the yeah yeah you're -1 OC. Yeah,
I can't imagine how many times you had to
that
go tell people that weekend if they haven't played him before.
it was really fun when you had the whose turn is it? Because there's an aura giving, that's giving +1 OC. There's this giving -1 OC. All right, well, on his turn, this is how it works. On your turn, this is how it works. It's super fun because you get to pick the orders when it's your turn. It makes things a little more interesting.
Nice. I love it. Roy,
Yeah.
the tournament
So
winners,
there's
robot attachment minus robots. KR, you're 100% on that. A lot of us are playing a lot of teams and they don't track the teams. That's true. That's the true story on that. So we are getting some
yeah.
biased results. But that's a crazy.
But I don't think you.
Go ahead.
I don't think you can track teams as well as you can track singles.
No, it's too hard.
Because in teams, certain armies are considerably better than in singles.
Yep. I mean, like, you can get into things where you go, hey, I'll take World Leaders, for instance. World Leaders on a table, if they're choosing, denying whatever their bad matchup is, gross. You know what I mean? A gross defender on that. Hey, I'm going to take the heaviest board. And bummer for you.
If you could, not that we had table 7, but if you had table 7 and you could put your World Leaders player every game on table 7, that's a big to do.
Brutal, man. I'm wondering where the news are going to come in, because I think the Death Guard is easy. It looks very disgusting. World Leaders are still World Leaders. Even though they have a lot of different stuff, they still have that aggressive, take the board type play. Emperor's Children are the ones that I don't know where they're going to fit in your team, because I think that's an army that can go out there and get you some real points. Because if you keep Emperor's Children away from the things that are bad for them, they can really hunt down things because of the speed of that army. Whew. Also, you've got a lot of ways to put just 8.
I'm wondering if I wonder if teams is going to get a little. This is just me thinking outside the box. I don't see this happening, but like, are they going to go, hey, you get one Chaos Space Marine faction, whether it be Death Guard, Emperor's Children, World Leaders, or Chaos Space Marines?
See,
you think that's a potential of what could happen?
My thing is I don't want that to happen, because if you count them all as 4 different books, and if they would just separate the Marines, so the Marines would count as different books, I love the fact that you can have 8-man teams and 5-man teams that are wildly different in comp, because for the longest time you had, these are the lists that you were taking, especially in 5s. You just went, if you have somebody to play these 5 armies, you're taking these 5 armies. If you get multiple books that are all good, I love the fact that you can just have 8-man teams that might have only 4 of the same armies on a given team. I like that.
Considering you say that you like them being separated, I'm going to argue right here that Blood Angels, Dark Angels, what will be coming, all separated out from Space Marines. You just can't take the attachments and count it as a separate army.
100%. I think you have to take
on that one.
I agree. If you if you want them to be a separate in teams, they cannot take anything from the you can't take Gladius and shit like that if you're taking that. I agree on that, because I want them to be completely separate on that. I don't even like the fact that they use the same detachments in the thing.
Yeah, that's the thing for me. I mean, granted, I got to watch one of the most interesting Blood Angels I think I've ever talked about it on Wednesday, where we were talking about Oliver's or Oliver. I apologize if I'm butchering his name, but I think it was Oliver. And from the captain of Team France, and he had 18 Blade Guard. It's 6 Sanguinary Guard and Dante. That army was brutal. I watched a couple turns of it here and there when I could, and it was quite interesting to watch that play out on a tabletop. It was very intriguing.
I just like I mean I like different I like to see different shit on the board. I like to have teams be wildly different. KR Chaos gets 5 different CSMs books. Space Marines should be different. They keep making everybody use the base Marine book. As soon as they basically pull everybody off the Mama Teat of the Space Marine book, you'll have separate books on that. So I think
I think as long as they don't allow you if the Salamander book comes out, which is what it's like, right? It'll be a Codex supplement Space Marine Salamanders like all the other Space Marine books are. And they say, hey, guess what? If you're Salamanders, you can't use the base detachments and use the stuff out of this book. I it's a separate book. Uh,
I mean, they've never let supplements be separate
I
in that.
hope.
That's my saying, but I'm saying you
Yeah.
get the big books. You have the Dark Angels, the Blood Angels, and stuff like that.
Yep.
Give them just let them have their detachments. You know what I'm saying? Stop making them play everything from the Marine book, and then they can be separate. You know what I mean? I like
Yeah.
the way that Chaos is. Each Chaos book is its own individual thing. It has its own individual units. Everything that you can use is in your book. If you ally something, yes, it's separate, but it has its own separate rules. Doesn't even have the detachment keyword on that. So you can bring things, but they don't get the certain bonuses on that. So but I don't like that everybody brings the Gladius and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Just I'd like to see if you're playing Dark Angels, you play Dark Angels. You know, if you're playing Blood Angels, you get to play
Mhm.
Blood Angels. You know, you don't get to just take the standard Marine shit on that. I want them
I,
to be their own thing.
yep. It would be, although there is some restrictions right now, like Black Templar can't take librarians or whatever. It would be great to see when they do their June-ish or June adjacent balance data slate, or July, whenever it ends up dropping. And they went, hey, if you want to play pure Blood Angels and you want to take the book detachments, you can't take out of the Space Marine book. Same thing with Dark Angels, and then it would be super fun. All right, I'm stealing this one, Brad. Probability not getting out of here without a go.
God damn
I had to steal that one from you. You've said every one of them. It was time. It was time.
Oh, it's hurtful. Just hurtful. I still the time that I went to a tournament and I'm wearing my Ohio State hat and somebody came up and goes, "What are you wearing an Ohio State hat for? I always cheered for the Wolverines." I'm like, God damn it. This is
That's
bullshit.
why I saved you that one. I saved you that one.
Ah. So
But no,
here
I like. Go ahead.
no, I'm gonna put a poll up. I have to I'm going to Rocky Top. I forgot. I'm going Snakes is basically gonna kidnap me and we're gonna roll down there. So I'm gonna let you take care of Meadows. Do Meadows real quick and I'll make a poll.
Mano, $10 super chat. Imperial getting an army roll this for real this time. Well, let's all hope. Let's all hope.
It's not gonna happen. What's gonna be viable? I mean, Plague, Death Guard, and World Eaters won't be available by the 23rd, correct?
Well, those books come out this weekend, so yes.
Really?
Yeah. So those books drop.
Yeah, I wonder if what their cutoff is. You know what? Those are
Yeah,
those are the four
How
things that
about
I'm gonna
this?
play.
Yeah, I mean, I know 100% what I'm picking for you here because I want to see you run it. I want to see you play Emperor's Children. I think it'd be interesting to watch.
I I think they're really cool. I really like them from a lore standpoint because I think they have one of my favorite falls because Fulgrim didn't fall like one big deal, you know what I mean? He was lured down the path because his own pride basically, and then he slowly but surely became the crazy psycho he is today, you know? But like originally it was little by little, you know? So I love the idea of the pride took you down the path of darkness. So,
Yep.
but yeah,
So, and for those Michigan, for the people going to the Lorecast Major, I had a few. I asked a bunch of players who were good players to read my player pack, give me some feedback. They gave me some feedback on it. I decided to change a couple things based on their suggestions to help players have a little more fun at the event. So we should have that up, I'm guessing tomorrow early afternoon on the website.
so come on out. Come on down. Welcome to the Terror Dome.
Absolutely.
Here's the link to the event. I'd love to see Fulgrim Fellow Pay. I mean, Fulgrim's been possessed multiple times, so yes, it's not great. It is a cat on the table behind Brian.
There definitely was at least one cat on the table behind me multiple times.
doing stuff and or things.
Because we're using Discord and I haven't figured out how to put up a background yet.
I didn't even bother with the background today because my dome hurts and I didn't want to have to change anything. So I have my cow in the background, and that's about it. And I have a giant green screen.
Yeah.
Grumpy ass Morty on the table again. Morty looks pretty good. I think that Morty got a better glow up than Angron got for the new book, for sure.
Now, if you ask me to rank the Primarchs, I think Morty's 1, Gilliman's 2. I put Angron 3.
I mean, Magnus is a motherfucker. We'll see when he gets his stats.
Well, see, when he gets his thing, I bet you he becomes the best. That's my prediction. But right now, I put Magnus, and then I would put Fulgrim, and then I would put the Lion, because I still think the Lion's just got the short end of the stick so far.
Yes, Lion's still.
This is 100% on tabletop. 100% on tabletop. Lore wise, no. Lore wise, I think Angron has the most interesting lore, just because it's like how angry he is. I think it's just hilarious.
Wait, in modern times, he's been in a lot of the stories. I mean, the dude just blew up the Coral Engine and created a demonic incursion by himself by being pissed. He had 8 bloodthirsters rolling with him. That's a pretty scary detachment. Angron and 8 bloodthirsters.
That was a detachment back in 7th edition. You could play that because they had an Angron Forge World model as a formation with 8 bloodthirsters. Yeah, never saw the table, but it was super fun.
That is true, Matt. Angron, again, as I said before, if you're fighting the boss, Angron's on ads because he's 0 and I think 6 now in boss fights. So, and
the Lion lost his tabletop abilities in the divorce. That's great.
You know what? We're ending on that one because that's the best line.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Everybody, thanks for hanging out. Please come to the tournament. Sign up the tournament. We got everybody waiting. There's a lot of people saying they're coming. Get in there. Make us not have to take a Tums because I'm so freaked out. So come on down. Make it happen, peeps. Until then,
a good one.